All right, so I'm going to demo how to do a motion tween in Flash. And today we are going to look at how to do a simple motion tween. So a tween is where you move an object from one keyframe to another keyframe. And we call it a tween because we're moving it between those two locations. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is to draw an object. So the brush tool looks like a paintbrush. That's probably your best bet. You can pick the color up here, so I'm just going to pick black. I usually do a simple circle, but just for fun, I'm going to do something a little bit fancier here. Why don't I just quickly draw Batman? Okay, so the drawing tool works very similar to other programs you may have used. The only difference is Flash likes to smooth out your lines. Okay, so it's kind of neat how it makes it look good. I'm just going to draw a very simple Batman. He's all covered in his cape there, so I don't have to draw the body. Okay, and then I can get the paint bucket tool right here, just like we have a paint bucket in other programs like Photoshop. And I can pick my fill color. So I'm just going to pick a dark blue, fill that in, maybe get like a, color for his face, and then color in his eyes. Okay. So you can draw something very simple. It doesn't have to be complex. And once you've created your object, we want to get the selection tool, which is the black arrow, and draw a box around it, and then press F8. If you look at the top of your keyboard, there are 12 function keys. Okay, so we're pressing F8. And this will convert it to a symbol. So my symbol, I want to call it Batman. You can call your symbol according to whatever you drew. Okay. Now you'll notice once you've created the symbol that it is now in the library. So right now I'm in the Properties tab. If I click on Library, then you'll see Batman is in my library. So this is useful for a few reasons, but if I ever wanted to add in multiple Batmen, then I could do that. Okay? Just want one right now. Okay. So I want to direct your attention towards the bottom of the screen. There is a timeline. Okay? So up to this point, we've basically just done what we can do in Photoshop. So the drawing tools look very familiar to you, and the stage is very similar to your work area in Photoshop. The timeline is something new. So the timeline is unique to animation because it shows the passage of time. So right now, I just have one frame. But if I right-click my object, and I know it's an object because it has a light blue line, okay, if I hadn't have pressed F8, I wouldn't have that line. Okay, it would just be, it would look different. Okay, so if I right-click my object and say Create Motion Tween, look at my timeline. Now it extends all the way to 24. Okay. So if I drag this red playhead to the beginning, I can set my starting point. So I'm going to actually start him off stage. Okay. When I publish my video or my animation, I only see what's in this white area. Okay. So you can actually have things off stage just like you might in a drama production. Okay. I'll bring my playhead to frame 24, and I can set a new keyframe right here. Okay. If I hit enter, you can see moves across the screen. Okay, there are a few things we can do after we've set the tween. If you actually click on the timeline between your two keyframes, it brings up the properties for that motion tween. So I can do things like rotation. I can set my rotation. If I say rotate one time, oops. Then when I hit enter to test my animation, now he's tumbling. Batarang. Yeah, batarang. Actually, maybe I should have just drawn a batarang. Okay. So enter is to test your animation. If you hit Control and enter at the same time, then it'll push it out into a little video for you to watch. Again, it loops endlessly. This could be my screensaver. Okay, so I'll show you guys one more time how to add an object. So if you want to add another object, I suggest making a new layer. Every object needs its own layer in Flash to work properly. Okay, so layer 1, I'm just going to double click, call this Batman. And if I click on this little, it looks like a paper with the corner turned up at the very bottom of the screen. That'll make a new layer. Okay, so in my new layer, I'm going to make, how about I do the Joker just to have some fun. So he's got some kind of crazy hair. He's got some ears. Okay. He's got a big smile and a nose. He has lipstick, you're right. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw his body as like something very simple, just to keep it simple here. Okay, so I'm just coloring his face. It doesn't look like I'm actually coloring it, but if I pull him off to the side, oops, you'll see that, oh, I can't actually select him. Come on. You'll see that it is white. See that? Okay, let me just finish coloring him. Let's give him some green hair. And they always have yellow teeth on him. Okay, and he likes to dress in purple, so I'll give him a purple body. Oh, and let's give him red eyes, just for fun. Oops. Okay, you can take the time to really draw an interesting character if you like. I just did this quickly. But I have to select him first. And you see how he's got all these little dots all over him. The problem is if you don't make him an object, all these areas are like separate regions of color. Okay, so you might accidentally be animating just his hair, not the whole thing. So we select the whole thing, press F8, call it Joker. Okay, he's a little bit bigger than Batman. So I'm going to get the free transform tool, which is the third tool in the toolbar, and just shrink him down a bit. Okay, and the Joker, I'm going to actually start, let's see, I'm going to start him on this side. Right click, create motion tween. Okay, so my starting keyframe's already set. I have to drag my playhead to the end, and I'm going to drag him to the end point. Okay, and why don't I make him spin too, just for fun? So click on the tween. I can set rotation 1, and I'm going to make him counterclockwise, so it'll look like he's going in the opposite direction. Do you know what he looks like? He looks like one of those Pez candy dispensers, doesn't he? Okay, so I've got 2 spinning characters here. Looks kind of neat. Now I'm going to add one. I'll do one more. Let's call it Joker. Okay, I'll do the penguin. I'll do this. I spelled that wrong. Penguin. Okay. I watched Happy Feet on the weekend with all the snow, so I do like penguins. So let's, I'll just draw a penguin instead of the penguin. Because this will be much faster to draw. Oops. They usually have like a white tummy. There we go. Okay, so when you can't do the fill, that means that at some point you have created like a gap in your drawing. So I just have to make sure I don't have any gaps here. Okay, that works. It's a robo penguin, like in Batman Returns. Okay, So I'll select that, press F8, call it penguin. Okay, so I'm going to do this. This one is going to be a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to start him here, create a motion tween, and instead of just making him go all the way to the end, if I drag my playhead to like frame 5, for instance, I can move him a little bit. Okay, so I'll move him from there to there. Now at frame 10, maybe I want to make him like jump up. Frame 15, I'm going to make him jump back down. Okay, so I get like this. See that? So you can actually do more complex movements. I've just been doing kind of, sliding across the stage kind of thing. Maybe I want the penguin to be in the background, so I can actually drag that layer down to the bottom. Okay, now he'll be behind the other characters. Okay? To add a background, simply add a new layer, drag that to the very bottom. I can just rename it background. And whatever you draw here will be behind your other objects. So I'm going to just make them like on an iceberg or something. Oops. Okay, let's get some icebergs in the background. And that will be water. Okay, so there we go. They're having a party in the Arctic. Okay, actually it'd be the Antarctic, because penguins don't live in the Arctic. So there you go.